Today I want to talk about one of the things that I believe is a result of being autistic and masking through the years, and maybe you can relate to this if you're also autistic, but that is that for me it's really, really hard not to smile or laugh or giggle when I'm uncomfortable or nervous or even in pain, and it makes it really hard for people to understand when I'm nervous or uncomfortable or even in pain, because I'm good at actually kind of blocking that out and putting on that face that actually looks pretty genuinely happy, or at least even if I still look uncomfortable, people won't get that I'm actually in pain. An example of this would be when I was pregnant with Patrick, I stepped on a roofie nail and it went through my shoe and firmly lodged itself in my foot. And I was really pregnant, like really pregnant, and the roofie nail was really in my foot. And so we went to the ER and I couldn't walk and it was very awkward. They got a wheelchair for me. They wheeled me up to the nurse who was talking to people. And I remember there was a lady in front of me and she was talking on her phone, and they asked her, she had her phone, and they were like, so what level of pain are you in? And she was like, 10. And back to talking on her phone, like completely normally, no tears, just, I can't remember why she was there. I mean, I wasn't really listening. And then the nurse got to me and I had my foot up in the chair, and she asked me what level of pain I was in at that point, and I thought about it and I said I thought I was about a 7, because in my head I was thinking of childbirth and how bad that had been. And so I thought this was not quite as bad as that. It was still pretty bad to have the nail in my foot. So I said 7, and I wasn't crying. I was still talking normally like this. I mean, it hurt a lot. And it hurt even more every time someone walked by and bumped my leg. And she was like, okay. And then she looked at my leg and looked at my foot and was like, oh. I mean, the main reason I was there is just to make sure it was, because the nail was super rusty. Make sure that, and it was a Sunday, to get any shots or anything like that. And so they came and moved me, and then finally another nurse came over and said that I was being so stoic that she wanted to make sure I got in. They came and got me and gave me a ton of shots of lidocaine, because lidocaine doesn't really work very well on me 90% of the time. They would have to give me 20 shots, which was what happened this time too. They gave me shot after shot after shot, and I would still feel it, just like with my teeth. And finally they just pulled it out, I could feel it. I think with masking, especially with strangers, it's hard to let that down. I mean, it's different around family. In the car, I was totally crying because that thing hurt. But once I got in the ER, it was I wasn't laughing and giggling that time. That's more when I'm talking about things, even things, especially things that make me very uncomfortable. So a lot of times I will even see when I'm editing things, anytime I'm talking about something that makes me very nervous or very uncomfortable, I'll giggle or laugh. And I remember once, and this was in college, talking about someone who was harassing me to go out with them, who shouldn't have been. And the therapist, I said something about, it was getting to the point, because they'd gotten my phone number through a way they shouldn't have gotten my phone number, that I was thinking about reporting them, because it had gone on for so long, over a year. And the therapist said, well, are you sure they really know that you mean no? Because whenever you're nervous, you giggle and you smile. So maybe they don't know that you mean no seriously. Because are you giggling and smiling? Which, okay. In 2020, that advice has not aged well. In 2004, that advice was probably more typical. Yeah, 2020, that advice is horrifyingly bad. But in 2004, that was probably more advice that you would get. You don't want to ruin this person's career. Yeah. So, I feel like I'm having a hard time gathering my thoughts. And I think that's one of the reasons why when I see someone who's laughing or smiling or talking about a topic that is serious, I don't automatically throw them under the bus for it, because that's how I am. And so maybe it does mean they aren't being genuine. Maybe it is wildly inappropriate for that person if that isn't something that they do to mask. But I know that for some of us it can totally be a part of masking, that we for so long have trained ourselves to smile and giggle and be self-deprecating and just mask through whatever's happening, that it becomes really a part of the response. It becomes almost an automatic response when you're at least uncomfortable in a situation, that's just how your body thinks it's supposed to act, how your face thinks it's supposed to act. As much as I can force eye contact, my face also automatically sort of tries to smile even when it's not natural, even when it doesn't feel natural. So, or maybe especially when it doesn't feel natural. I don't know how much more I can say on that. Those were probably the two biggest examples, mostly because it was the time that a therapist called me out on doing it and had noticed it. Probably because I did it when talking about traumatic things too. I would talk about traumatic things and I can laugh and smile and talk about them and kind of try to laugh things off, like, haha, oh, wasn't that funny? Even when it wasn't funny after years. So, yeah, I don't know. Do you do that? I'm sure there's other people that do that. I'm sure it's a masking thing. Well, at least I feel like it's probably a masking thing. Anyways, those are my rather jumbled thoughts on this subject. And that is it for today. If you like this video, we'd love it if you give it a thumbs up. And if you're interested in all things autism, we would love it if you give it... If you like this video, we'd love it if you give it a thumbs up. And if you're interested in all things autism, we'd love it if you'd hit subscribe. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.